Hello and welcome to Pandora's Box. This is Kaleah. And today we're going to talk about narcissistic abuse and spiritual growth. Every horrible thing that happens in our lives, every victimization, every betrayal, every painful event comes into our lives with the amazing power to transform us. We're not stretched when life is easy. It's the most challenging life experiences that take us beyond our limited understanding and forces us to raise the bar to a higher level of awareness. And the greatest awareness we can develop is self-awareness. In my own life, I've been a victim of narcissistic abuse many times. And I've counseled thousands of people who have also been victims of narcissistic abuse. Unfortunately, narcissists are completely lacking in self-awareness. They are self-important, but not self-aware. So by the very nature of such lack of awareness, we're forced to develop greater self-awareness in order to heal and expand beyond the abuse. I will never invalidate the abuse. It happened. You experienced it. It is very real and also very destructive to the life that you've been living. I know that destruction, and it is the most painful thing I've ever experienced. It's also the most painful thing my clients have ever experienced. I will never tell you that you should not feel your pain or be where you are. But what I will suggest is that you allow your pain to bring your greatest transformation. Our pain shows us where we need to grow and expand. It shows us where we've relied too much on the good graces of another human being. It shows us where we've failed to have boundaries, to respect ourselves, and most important, to love ourselves. It shows us where we've given our power away and where we've failed to listen to our deepest intuition. When we resign ourselves to victimhood, we identify with our victim roles and we get stuck in these roles. For a while, maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need to feel the full extent of the pain of having been victimized. I will never tell you that you haven't been victimized. This would be spiritual bypass. But I will tell you that there's a way out of the victim paradigm and into empowerment paradigm. You may have to walk through the valley of victim consciousness on your way to empowerment. And this is okay. Would we tell a victim of rape to stop being a victim? Of course not. But at some point, if that rape victim wants to heal, she'll need to move beyond, I have been raped, to, I experienced something that completely cracked me open, ripped the foundation I was standing on out from under my feet, destroyed my sense of safety, made me feel powerless and fearful. And because of this, I was forced into a path of healing and transformation that completely changed my life. Every tragedy, every trauma is a call to awaken. If we miss the call, we risk sliding further down the rabbit hole of victimization. We risk getting stuck in our victim stories and recreating those stories over and over again. Like the movie Groundhog's Day, we get stuck in a cycle of waking up every day to the same story. The path to awakening from the drama, the trauma, and the cycle of abuse is not about transcending the pain or dancing around it, but courageously walking through it. When we find the courage to walk into our pain, it loses power. When we arrange our lives in such a way that everything we do is orchestrated to help us avoid pain, we're always dancing around it and we fail to receive the gifts that are in our pain. The pain that is uprooted during a narcissistic, crazy-making relationship is often beyond our ability to tolerate it. The irony is that this is rarely ever an original wound. The original wounding happened in infancy and early childhood when we were not shown how beautiful and amazing we were, or when we were not nurtured, valued, or given what we needed. When we felt abandoned or rejected or both. When we were left to cry it out without comfort or soothing. When we somehow learned that our emotions were a nuisance, unwanted, punishable, suppressed, and completely unsupported. Because we live in an emotionally repressed society, these kinds of wounds can happen even in what we might consider loving families. We develop ideas about what love looks like, and our ideas create a familiarity that we seek after in adulthood. Why are we attracted to people who are self-absorbed and emotionally shut down? Often it's because it is familiar. It matches our original idea of what love looks like. When we reach the end of the road in narcissistic relationships, we learn a very important thing about the relationship we were in. He or she didn't really love me. This awareness is one of the most painful aspects of recovery because everything we did in that relationship, all that we gave up, all that we endured was for love. And what a shock it is when we realize we've given our all to an illusion. The greatest gift that comes from the realization that you were never truly loved by this other person is the new awareness of how you may have failed to truly love yourself. When you give up what you want, what you need, what your values are, what's important to you, your self-respect, your self-honesty, and everything else you slowly give up in order to stay attached to that other person, you give up the most important relationship in the world, your relationship with yourself. Your relationship with yourself is core. It's the foundation for all of your relationships. People will often treat you as you treat yourself, or as you believe you deserve to be treated. Or they will treat you as they themselves were treated in their formative years. When we have a strong sense of self-love and self-respect, we don't allow others to treat us disrespectfully. We learn to recognize that people who treat us cruelly, disrespectfully, abusively, people who lie, cheat, and manipulate are acting from their own wounds, from their own unconsciousness. We learn that this is not about us. How people treat you is not about you. It's about them. When we take it personally, we make it about us. We make it about how worthless we are, how unloved we are, how undeserving of love we are. And when we do this, we're acting against ourselves. We're mistreating ourselves. We're failing to believe in ourselves. And this is the healing opportunity. Our core wounds are the beliefs we form about ourselves in early childhood. I'm not enough. I'm worthless. I don't deserve love. I'm stupid. I'm ugly. I will never amount to anything. We create our relationships from our core beliefs. We do this unconsciously because most of us aren't aware of our core beliefs and how they are driving our lives. Once we become aware, we can go about changing them by loving the wounded child within and letting him or her know how loved, beautiful, and valued he or she is. Who other people believe you are is about them. They are seeing you from their own lens. When unconscious people look at you, you are a mirror, reflecting to them what they are denying and disowning within themselves. You become the unconscious trigger for that person's core wounds. And the more unconscious people are, the more they project what is disowned within them onto the ones who trigger them the most. And the more they will blame the projector screen for how they feel. So you see, this is not about you at all. However, this is a dynamic we're all caught up in. So let me talk about victims of narcissistic abuse and what gets in their way of healing. Victims of narcissistic abuse are often in the greatest pain they have ever experienced in their adult life. And they either project that pain back onto the narcissist and blame the narcissist for how they are feeling, or they internalize the pain and blame themselves, or they do both. When we project the pain back onto the narcissist, we go deeper down the rabbit hole of victim consciousness. We focus our attention on, you did this to me and I hate you for it. When we internalize our pain, we drop into, it's my fault, I wasn't enough, this is only proof that I'm not good enough. This is only proof that I'm worthless. Neither way of focusing is going to help us heal. What you need to understand is that the narcissist not only triggered your core wounds, but completely uprooted them to the point you are swimming in them. But they are still your core wounds. There's no getting around this. We don't feel better by blaming how we feel on the narcissist, because when we blame, we don't take responsibility for our own healing. We also don't feel better when we blame ourselves. Our core wounds are actually not our fault. Core wounds are passed down from generation to generation. We are victims of original sin. As children, we didn't know any better. We didn't know how to defend ourselves or protect ourselves. We unconsciously absorbed the core wounds of our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and so on down the line. We're little sponges that take everything in. We can't blame our parents either, because they are victims of the same ancestral wounding. We don't excuse abusive or neglectful parents, but we don't blame them either. We might hold them accountable by saying, because of you, I never felt like I was loved or valued. But we don't blame them by saying it's all your fault that my life is a complete mess. There's a difference between original cause and fault. Cause is the origin. Our core wounds originate from the unconscious behavior, as well as the repressed emotional nature of our primary caregivers. But it isn't their fault because they are carrying on the unconscious wounds of your grandparents and your great-grandparents. Everybody is just doing the best they can with what they were given. And often one's best just isn't good enough. But if we point the finger at an unconscious parent and say, your best just wasn't good enough, they don't know what to do with that. We can develop some pretty big core wounds from family dynamics that most people would consider to be normal. Although the majority of my clients are perfectly aware of the dysfunction in their family of origin, some clients tell me they had really good childhoods and their parents were really loving and nurturing. Sometimes these clients are in denial because they are unable to accept any other reality. But sometimes core wounding happens regardless of who your parents were, because life happens regardless. There is death, disease, job loss, 2 working parents who weren't around enough to give you proper attention, too many siblings for proper attention, discord between your mother and your father, divorce, a sick sibling, and so many other circumstances. Much of what happens in our childhood is out of the control of our parents, who are usually doing the best they can. When we get into alcoholism, drug addiction, narcissism, incest, abuse, and other very toxic family dynamics, the childhood emotional damage can be brutal. When we have a mom or dad who closes their eyes to the addiction or abuse because of their own denial, they are every bit as much a contributor in the dynamic as the abuser. We learn through the codependent family member how to close our eyes and pretend it's not happening. We carry that forward into our adult lives. Once we become adults, regardless of what happened to us in our childhood and the core wounding we still carry with us, we are still responsible for our own healing and awakening. We don't heal when those who hurt us say, "I'm sorry, I should have never done that." We heal when we can say to our own innocent inner child, "I'm so sorry that happened to you, and that you never felt loved or wanted. I love you. I want you. And I promise to take care of you, protect you, and make sure that never happens again." We need to become the parents we wished we had. Or if we believe we had great parents, we still need to become the great parent to ourselves. We need to instill a feeling of love, respect, and protection within ourselves. We need to learn to say no to mistreatment, disrespect, and abuse. We need to trust that our feelings are guiding us, and it's important to pay attention to where we are being guided. Our true feelings go far beyond our anger, hatred, and blame for the one who hurt us. We need to find the core wounding beneath those feelings. I'm not saying we need to bypass those feelings, but rather use them to take us deeper to the true core wounding. "I hate you for what you did to me" might give way to, "I hate the way I allowed myself to be treated." "You are a liar" gives way to, "I hate that I lied to myself for so long." "What you are saying about me isn't true, and I need to convince you that I'm really a good person" gives way to, "I need to explore why I don't feel that I am good." Fear of what others think of you gives way to, "I don't think very highly of myself." Your core wounding is the beliefs you've developed about yourself early in life that are still operating in your unconscious mind today. Enlightenment comes when we can bring what is hidden within ourselves to light. The bad things that happen to us in adult life can either be used as an excuse as to why we aren't getting what we want in life, or can be used as an opportunity to heal our core wounds and create the life we want. When you can see the trauma and the tragedies of your life as an opportunity to awaken, you will find your greatest empowerment. You'll be able to look back on this painful event and say, "Thank you. If you hadn't been exactly who you were, I would not have stepped into my most empowered, authentic self and had the amazing life I have today." Okay, so it hurts right now. It hurts a lot. But let the wounds lead you to what needs to be healed within yourself. And one day you will stare the narcissist in the face, either in person or symbolically, and say to yourself, "You didn't break me. You set me on a path that transformed my life in a way I could never have hoped for." So if you're ready to embrace this path of healing and ready to discover and heal your core wounds and step on to a path of true transformation, I am putting together a really powerful 4-week Healing Core Wounds webinar, which begins Monday, September 4th at 6 p.m. Pacific time and 9 p.m. Eastern time. For more information, you can go to my website, narcissismfree.com/healing-core-wounds webinar. I'll put the link below in the description. Thank you for listening and have a great day.